Who am I? Who am I, and why am I here? Who am I, and will I ever be happy? Who am I, and will I ever be someone great? Who am I, and does it even matter? Who am I? It's a question that's probably a significant question to you right now. There are probably other equally important questions, but I just want to talk about this one today. Some people have jobs or careers, and they might say that they are what they do. Some people might be really into a hobby or a sport, so they aspire to be something significant in that field. Some people are religious, and they identify themselves as a child of their religion. Some might have children, and they might try to mold themselves into the perfect parent. So these people already know who they are, it seems. But is that really the full story? Think of yourself 5 or 10 years ago. Who were you, and are you still the same person today? If you're in college or uni right now, are you the same as you were in middle school? And if you're in your 30s or 40s, are you moving the same way as when you were scrambling around in your 20s? If you guys exchanged experiences, I wonder what you would learn. It's likely you're doing something right now that you never thought you'd be doing 5 or 10 years ago. So some things have changed, but has everything changed? Maybe some things have stayed the same. And for those who have lived long enough, I bet those are the things that you feel make you, you. So why do you still get that nagging feeling sometimes? Why do you imagine what things would be like if you did things differently, or if you were to drop everything and move to Hawaii? What if you could be a film star, a famous fashion designer, or an astronaut, a world-class barista? You imagine all of these scenarios, but you wouldn't try to actually realize any of them because ultimately, throwing away your life and your identity scares the heck out of you. So who are you exactly? Are you the father, the store assistant, the student? Or are you the celebrity, the artist, or the hero? The problem lies in trying to cut corners and pigeonholing ourselves and other people. We all do it, and there is literally a mountain of evidence telling us that we need to find out ASAP. People even expect us to know right now, like this instant. And the problem is, the question of who am I is not something you can answer overnight. There are people who have spent their entire lives trying to answer this question, with many never until their dying breath finding out. So is it possible? Well, I think it is, but you need to know a few things beforehand, and you need to know what you're looking for. First of all, who am I? It's exactly that. It's a question of who you are, and no one knows you better than you. There are probably people in your life, or people higher up, that would have you believe that they know you better than you. And trust me, they have every motivation to make you buy into this mindset, and they will employ all sorts of tricks just to try to convince you that they know better, but they never will. Also, you might think that Carly Rae Jepsen is everything you want to be in life, but she didn't grow up in Britain, she doesn't have Asian parents, and she's not tone deaf. So the question cannot be answered by someone else. Second, you are a human being, and being the incredibly complex beings that we are, we cannot simply be pigeonholed into a few labels. Looking for the one thing or things that will completely define your identity is definitely not going to fulfill you. Also, you might think that your life will always be the same, or that your problems will always be around, but think about when you imagined yourself 5 or 10 years ago. Do things stay the same? Thinking this way is just silly, but most people do it anyway. So, given that life and you as a human being are static, how can anyone ever be satisfied with who they are? Well, they probably can't. Not if you insist on asking, who am I, in the most absolute way possible anyway. So now that we've established that you could potentially waste your life away worrying about the answer to this question, let's rephrase the question. Not who am I, but who do I want to become? By doing this, we're shifting our focus from what is to what could be. We're taking control of our identity away from the outside world and redirecting it to what we want it to be. The key to this is turning the question inward and eradicating our reliance on external points of reference. Instead of desperately clinging onto labels and train hopping your whole life, Look for the things inside of you that don't and won't change, and base your core identity on those key values, and then see where they take you. Now, this might be tough and strange for some initially, and it might appear controversial and strange to some others, but it's a much better question to be basing your identity around, and it will lead to a much more fulfilling life experience than you would be otherwise trapped with. So, who am I? Well, I'm more than just a worker, an artist, an athlete, a carer, even a friend. I'm someone who is compassionate, resilient, honest, and completely devoted to being the best person that I can be.